Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me carefully. Every day you wake up, you walk with a personality you didn't build alone. You carry beliefs that were whispered into your childhood, emotions that were carved by experiences, and habits that were silently planted by the environment around you. Above all these unseen influences, there is one grand architect, God, the master designer, who placed inside you raw material, potential, and purpose long before you even knew your own name. Yet life, people, pain, society, they also place their fingerprints on your identity. And without realizing it, you start living a personality constructed by invisible hands, some that help you rise and some that keep you small. Tonight, I'm not here to just motivate you. I'm here to wake you up, to help you identify the forces shaping you, to help you break what is limiting you, and to help you step into the personality God intended for you, not the personality the world forced on you. Because when you understand the invisible architects of your personality, you finally understand yourself. Your early environment built the first walls of your personality long before you even knew what the word personality meant. Think about it. When you were a child, you weren't choosing your beliefs, you were absorbing them. You didn't choose your fears, you inherited them. You didn't choose your courage. It was awakened by someone who believed in you. The house you grew up in, the voices you heard, the emotions you were surrounded with, all of them were quietly laying bricks inside you. Imagine a little child learning to walk. If every time that child falls, someone laughs, mocks, or says, "You will always fall, you're not made for this," then the child doesn't just lose balance, he loses belief. But if that same child falls and someone says, "Get up, you're strong, you can do it," he doesn't just learn walking, he learns resilience. This is the power of environment. It doesn't just shape your actions, it shapes your identity. And the identity you carry determines the life you live. If someone grows up constantly hearing, "Don't talk too much," people will laugh. They grow into an adult who stays silent even when their ideas can change the world. If someone was always told, "You're too emotional," they stop expressing feelings even when their heart is aching for connection. If someone kept hearing, "You're not good enough," they step into opportunities with half confidence even when they are fully capable. Without realizing it, your environment becomes your first teacher, your first mirror, your first storyteller. And the story it tells you is the story you start believing. But here's the truth. Your early environment shapes you, but it does not own you. Those walls were built around you before you had the strength to resist, but now you have the strength to redesign them. Let me give you a daily life example. Think about a child who grows up in a home where anger is normal. Every conversation becomes a battle. Every disagreement becomes a storm. That child learns to survive, not to express. Later in their adult life, they wonder why they avoid conflicts, why they fear conversations, why their heart panics even when someone raises their voice. It's not because they are weak, it's because their early environment built a wall of fear inside them. On the other side, someone else grows up in a home where love is the language, encouragement is the atmosphere, and mistakes are treated like lessons, not failures. That person becomes confident, expressive, and open to life, not because they were born like that, but because their environment nurtured those seeds. But even the most loving environment can unknowingly create limits. For example, many parents keep repeating, "Stay safe. Don't take risks. Don't go too far. Don't trust too much." They mean to protect the child, but the child learns fear disguised as caution. So when that child grows up, they don't chase big dreams, they don't step outside comfort zones, and they don't believe the world is friendly. The protection of childhood becomes the limitation of adulthood. Your early environment is like the first software installed in your mind, whether it was fear-based, love-based, disciplined, chaotic, encouraging, abusive, or balanced. It became your default setting. But life gives you updates, experiences, rewrite functions, awareness changes patterns. What shaped you yesterday does not have to define you today. The environment built the first version of you, not the final version. Think about yourself for a moment. Maybe you grew up in a place where no one celebrated your wins. So now even when you achieve something big, you downplay it because celebration was never normal. Maybe you grew up around people who always compared you to others. So now you keep chasing approval because comparison became your measurement. Maybe you grew up around people who never expressed love openly, so now you struggle to show affection, not because you don't feel love, but because you never learned how to express it. Maybe you grew up in silence, so now being loud feels wrong. Maybe you grew up in chaos, so now peace feels unfamiliar. Maybe you grew up in scarcity, so you fear losing even what you have. Maybe you grew up around broken dreams, so you fear dreaming too big. Here's the beauty. Environment shapes you, but God designed you, and the design is more powerful than the shape. The shape can be changed. The design cannot. You were designed with potential, strength, courage, creativity, and purpose. Your environment may have covered it, but it never removed it. Look at plants as an example. Two seeds from the same tree planted in different environments grow completely differently. One planted in sunlight grows tall, one planted in shade grows slower. One watered daily grows strong, one ignored becomes weak. But if you take the weak plant and move it to sunlight, give it water, give it space, give it care, the same plant starts growing again. Not because the plant lacked potential, but because it lacked environment. You are that plant. Maybe your early environment didn't give you sunlight. Maybe it didn't give you water. Maybe it didn't give you emotional safety, appreciation, encouragement, or belief. But you are not rooted in that same soil anymore. You can choose a new environment, new thoughts, new people, new habits, new atmosphere. You can unlearn what hurt you, relearn what builds you, and learn what elevates you. You can forgive the past, not because it deserves forgiveness, but because you deserve freedom. The walls built around you in childhood were made without your permission. But the walls you build now are in your control. The voice that shaped you back then may not have been your voice, but the voice that shapes you now is. Your environment wrote the first chapter of your personality, but you hold the pen for the next chapters. And the pen becomes powerful the moment you decide to rewrite your story, not by fighting your past, but by understanding it, accepting it, and rising above it, because you are not a product of your environment. You are a product of your decisions. And today, you get to decide who you become. Repeated experiences become silent architects shaping who you are, brick by brick, moment by moment, without even asking for your permission. Every single experience you go through, whether it was a heartbreak, a failure, a small win, a mistake, a compliment, or a setback, leaves an imprint on your personality. Experiences do not simply happen and disappear. They stay with you, they echo inside you, and they begin to build patterns that you start living without realizing. Think about it. When a child touches something hot for the first time, they immediately pull their hand back. That one moment of pain becomes a lesson. The child may never touch fire again, not because they understand chemistry or temperature, but because experience became their teacher. In the same way, your experiences teach you how to walk in this world. When someone you trusted once betrays you, you become cautious the next time. When someone appreciates you, you walk a little straighter, a little more confidently. When someone humiliates you, you become quieter, you shrink a little. When someone believes in you, you start believing in yourself. Experiences are powerful. They shape your reactions, your instincts, your behaviors, and even your decisions. But the danger begins when temporary experiences start becoming permanent definitions. For example, one failure in your teenage years can make you believe you're not capable, even at 40. One heartbreak in early adulthood can make you afraid of love, even when the right person stands in front of you. One time someone laughed at your dream can make you hide all your ambition for years. Isn't it strange how one moment can build a whole wall inside your personality? It's like going to a restaurant ordering something new. If the first bite tastes horrible, you never order it again, even if 10 people tell you it's amazing. Why? Because your personal experience overpowers everyone else's opinion. Now imagine how much more powerful emotional experiences are. The mind doesn't forget what made it insecure. The heart doesn't forget what made it bleed. The soul doesn't forget what made it grow. And the personality becomes a reflection of how you handled those unforgettable experiences. Let's take a daily life example. Imagine a student who got embarrassed by a teacher for giving a wrong answer. Maybe the whole class laughed. Maybe the teacher's tone broke something inside. That one moment becomes a blueprint. When that student grows older, they hesitate to speak up in meetings, in gatherings, in opportunities, not because they don't know, but because their experience is whispering. What if you're wrong again? What if they laugh again? The student is no longer afraid of the answer, they're afraid of the memory. This is how experiences become architects. They create patterns that follow you silently. But experiences don't only build fear, they build strength too. Think about someone who faced hardship early in life, someone who had to grow up faster, someone who dealt with struggle after struggle. Those experiences build resilience. They make a person tougher, sharper, wiser. A child who learns to help at home, handle responsibilities, or manage small challenges grows into an adult who doesn't panic in crisis. Their personality becomes grounded because life taught them stability through experiences. The same situation that breaks one person builds another. That's the mystery of experience. It doesn't shape everyone the same way. It shapes you according to how you respond. Every time life hits you, you either build armor or fear. Every time life rewards you, you either build confidence or ego. Every time something unexpected happens, it builds adaptation inside you. When you repeat the same kind of experience again and again, it forms a pattern you start calling personality. But in reality, it's only a construction of repeated moments. If you were rejected again and again, you may believe you're not worthy. If you were loved again and again, you may believe the world is kind. If you were ignored again and again, you may believe your voice doesn't matter. If you were encouraged again and again, you may believe you are enough. And the truth is, sometimes experiences lie. One person hurt you, and you believe everyone will hurt you. One failure came, and you believe success is not your destiny. One mistake happened, and you believe you're not capable. One moment of shame feels like a lifetime of unworthiness. But experiences are not universal truths, they are individual events. You can choose which ones to keep and which ones to let go. You can decide which memories become lessons and which memories become limitations. Imagine a man who tried starting a business 3 times and failed all 3. Now, when a 4th opportunity comes, his experience tells him, don't try. You failed before. You will fail again. But his potential tells him, you've learned something every time. This time you're stronger. If he listens to experience, his personality becomes fearful. If he listens to potential, his personality becomes courageous. Same person, same life. Different architect. You are not shaped by experiences alone. You are shaped by the meanings you attach to them. A heartbreak can make you bitter or wiser. A failure can make you hopeless or hungry. A loss can make you broken or grateful. Pain can make you soft-hearted or hard-hearted. The same fire that melts wax hardens clay. It depends on what you choose to be. Your personality today is a collection of the experiences you repeated, accepted, and internalized, but it doesn't have to be the same tomorrow. You can reframe the pain, reinterpret the memories, and redefine the lessons. You can take the moments that once hurt you and use them as proof of your strength. You can take the times you fell and use them as reminders of your courage. You can take the mistakes and use them as wisdom. Because experiences are architects, yes, but you are the final builder. You decide how their construction shapes your destiny. And once you understand that, you become unstoppable. The words you hear carve beliefs into you more deeply than you realize. Words may seem simple, light, spoken in seconds, but their impact can last for years, sometimes for a lifetime. Every word ever spoken to you became either a seed of strength or a seed of doubt. Words can build you and words can break you. You can forget 100 actions, but you will never forget the one sentence that made your heart freeze or the one line that made your soul rise. Your personality is not only shaped by what you saw or what you lived through, it is shaped by what you heard repeatedly, consistently, loudly or softly, intentionally or unintentionally. Think about it. When someone says, you can do this, something inside you stretches. Your spine straightens, your chest expands, your confidence climbs. On the other hand, when someone says, you're not good enough, your shoulders drop, your energy shrinks, your heart closes. That is the power of words. They don't just hit your ears, they enter your identity. They create stories about who you think you are. And the dangerous part is that the mind doesn't argue with them. The mind absorbs them. Imagine a child being told repeatedly, "You're useless. You never listen. You will fail. Why are you like this?" Those words don't disappear with time. They become internal voices. Even when the child grows up, gets older, becomes an adult, those sentences echo, "You're not enough." The voice outside becomes a voice inside. And now the person doesn't need someone else to tear them down. They do it themselves. That's how deeply words build beliefs. But the opposite is just as powerful. A child who hears things like, "You're smart. I'm proud of you. You can achieve anything you work for. You matter." That child grows up with inner strength, not because life was easier, but because someone's words became their foundation. Their personality becomes bold because their belief system is bold. Their actions become brave because their inner voice is brave. Words are the sculptors of identity. Look at a real life moment everyone has faced. Imagine you're preparing for an interview or an exam. You're nervous, you're overthinking, you're questioning yourself. Now imagine two different scenarios. In the first, someone looks at you and says, "You're not prepared. You'll mess this up." Instantly your confidence drops. Your hands shake. Your memory blocks. Your fear increases. That single sentence becomes a shadow over your performance. In the second scenario, someone says, "You've worked hard. You're ready. You're capable." Suddenly your heart feels lighter. You breathe easier. You walk in with belief. The situation hasn't changed, but the words changed your state, and your state changed your outcome. That is how words shape destiny. Sometimes the most painful wounds are not from actions, but from sentences. One sentence like, "Nobody will ever love you," or "You're a failure," or "You're too much," can haunt someone for decades. They may smile on the outside. Inside those words sit heavy. They repeat themselves in silence. Those words become the lens through which they see themselves in the world. But here's the truth. Just because words were spoken to you doesn't mean they were true. Not every voice deserves a space in your soul. We all know people who were discouraged as children but became extraordinary as adults. People who were told they were average but became exceptional. People who were told they were unworthy but learned their worth through experience. What changed? Not their ability, only the words they decided to stop believing and the new ones they chose to accept. Because you have the power to reject words that weaken you and embrace words that strengthen you. Growing up, some people hear harsh criticism daily while others hear encouragement. Adulthood gives everyone the same choice. Which voice will you allow to live in your mind? The world is full of negative voices, people who will judge, doubt, or dismiss you. But the real danger begins when you give those voices a permanent home inside your heart. When someone told you, "You can't," it wasn't a prophecy, it was an opinion. When someone told you, "You're not enough," they weren't describing you. They were projecting their own limitations. Words can turn a fearless person into someone anxious. Words can turn a creative person into someone who hides their talent. Words can turn a confident person into someone insecure. But words can also turn a shy person into a leader. They can turn a broken person into a warrior. They can turn a hopeless soul into someone unstoppable. Because ultimately, the words you choose to believe shape your personality more than the words you hear. Think of a plant. If you talk to it daily, nurture it, speak gently, it grows healthier and faster. If you ignore it, neglect it, or expose it to harsh environments, it shrinks. Humans are the same. The environment of words around you influences your growth, sometimes quietly, sometimes dramatically. The difference is that plants cannot choose their environment, but you can. You can choose which voices to keep near you. You can choose which conversations to avoid. You can choose which comments to ignore. And most importantly, you can choose the words you speak to yourself. Self-talk becomes the loudest architect. If you tell yourself daily, "I can, I will, I'm capable," you become stronger mentally. If you tell yourself, "I always fail, I'm unlucky, life is against me," those words become cages. Your personality is built by your inner dialogue more than anything else. People's words may have shaped you before, but your words can shape you now. You cannot control what people say to you, but you can control what you say to yourself. And the moment you start speaking to yourself with belief, dignity, confidence, and power. That is the moment your personality begins to transform, because the words you choose today will build the person you become tomorrow. Your thoughts are the most active builders of your personality, working nonstop day and night, shaping the blueprint of who you become, not with bricks, but with beliefs. What you think about yourself becomes what you feel, and what you feel becomes how you act. Thoughts are not harmless visitors. They are architects building the walls of your identity. They build confidence or they build fear. They build courage or they build hesitation. They build peace or they build anxiety. Every thought you entertain is like a worker on the construction site of your life. If the workers are negative, your inner world becomes weak.